What is up, traders? Today I will be showing you guys my 4-step strategy that I use to pass multiple prop firm challenges in one single month. Let's start with step 1. What is step 1? Identify the trend direction. Are we bullish or are we bearish? Let's check it out first. Are we creating higher highs or higher lows? Here we have a high, here we have a low. Here we create a higher high, a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So we can see that the market is clearly in a uptrend. Second of all, what are we going to do? Are we in the impulse phase or in the pullback phase? How are we going to mark that? We're going to mark out with the toolbox. Here you can see that we have a pullback, a impulse. Here is another pullback, an impulse, here is another pullback, and then of course the greater impulse. So what are impulses and what are pullbacks? So we can see that the market moves in higher highs, higher lows, higher high, higher low. But before doing that, the price needs to pull back to a certain point, which we call demand or supply, and it needs to take out liquidity. So in this leg downwards, we need to take out liquidity to give this impulse back in towards the upside, right? Same thing here and same thing here. So what is the third step is we're going to mark out our supply or our demand. I catched this trade over here because I saw a clear area of demand and we were in this overall pullback phase right here. You can see that we had a pullback and we had a push higher, breaking market structure. Okay, so what are we going to take? We're going to take out the Fibonacci retracement tool and we're going to look, are we in a discount or are we in premium? Right now you can see that we tapped below 0.5 fib extension, so that we are in a discount. This is where we want to buy. This is where big retail buyers want to, not big retails, big institutional buyers want to buy. Then we're going to drop down to the 4-hour time frame. And what can we see? In the overall leg in towards the upside, so in the impulse on the 4-hour time frame, we can see that we left a liquidity low for price to take. So what do we mark? We mark out this as our liquidity low and we wait for price to tap into it. So right now we have our pullback phase, we have our overall demand zone, and we have our fib extension. What we want to do then is we want to wait for a change of character. So basically going from lower lows to lower highs to higher highs and higher lows. So how are we going to do that? We can see the market is creating higher highs, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. And here we can see that market shifts in structure, right? Instead of going from a lower high to a lower low, price goes from a lower low to a higher high. So this is a market structure shift. So this is what we want to wait on. And after that market structure shift, the market gives us something special. It gives us another overall demand zone. So we'll go from supply is in control to demand is in control. So we know that we are from bearish going bullish on the 4-hour time frame. That's our confirmation to enter this trade. What we want to do then is we want to wait for that retracement in towards the demand zone, right over here, stop loss below the demand, and we can target a new overall higher high on the daily time frame. Like so. And this trade turns out beautifully in our favor in 4 days. 5 days. In 5 days. So, mark out bullish or bearish trend, higher highs or higher lows, lower lows or lower highs. Identify the phase. So, a pullback or an impulse, pullback or an impulse. Then, the liquidity. So in the overall impulse, we need to find a little bump in the road. Why didn't we take this as our liquidity low? Although we saw a big reaction, we didn't see that change of character needed to fuel higher towards this high, right? We needed to see a close above this high to target a new higher high. So price decided to come and sweep this low, give us a change of character, reacted off of a 4-hour demand zone, and then we had that real push. Let's go to a different pair. This is still a pair that I'm trading. This is still a pair that I'm in personally. I shared it in Telegram and on YouTube on the posts and in the different market outlooks. How did I catch this trade? I will show you now. On the daily time frame, we can see that we have multiple impulse and pullback phases, as you can see, breaking market structure overall, right? So we can see that we create a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and then we have our overall impulse in towards the upside. So what can we see? Our latest break of structure was this one right here. So we know that pricing needs to have a pullback phase before having that impulse phase. So we have an impulse phase, we have our pullback phase, and now we are getting our real impulse phase, right? So we drop down to the 4-hour time frame, and we're going to drag the fib extension tool, and we can see that we had the liquidity sweep. So in the overall leg in towards the upside, you can see that price created a couple of bumps in the roads, to say. So we have this one, we have this one, and we have this one. Price just recently today took out this one and instantly had a bullish reaction towards the upside. So what did I do? I placed my limit order on this last bump in the road. So it was basically like this. And I waited for price to give me an engulfing candle in towards the upside direction. Stops below this low to then target a new higher high, right? So now price is delivering that to me. Why? Because we had a bullish reaction from that liquidity low. Price took out sellers and pushed higher. This is one of the easiest threads that I use to pass multiple prop firm accounts, and you can too. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.